Copy or coincidence? Let's find out. This here's my 119 buck special. I've owned this knife since 2002, so the last 21 years. And this knife was made in the same year of their 100-year anniversary. The company started in 1902, and this knife is, like I said, from 2002. So I was shopping at Harbor Freight, as I often do, and I noticed they had this. The Gordon 6-inch Bowie knife, which looked eerily similar to my Buck 119 Special. So it got me to thinking, is Harbor Freight deliberately copying name brands of popular products, having them made overseas, and then being able to sell them at a cheaper price and trying to kind of cash in on the popularity of those items? We're going to discuss that in today's video. They look awfully similar to me. Buck 119 Special, Gordon 6-inch Bowie. 6-inch clip point blade, 6-inch clip point blade, black resin handle, 10.5-inch overall length, 10.5-inch overall length, 420 HC stainless steel blade, 7CR17 MOV stainless steel blade, black leather sheath, aluminum handguard, aluminum pommel, $75 retail price, $25 retail price, made in USA, made in China. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how similar some of Harbor Freight's tools are to name brand tools, and whether it's by design or not. I'm sure you can think of specific examples of maybe pliers or different things that you've seen name brands, then a while later you see Harbor Freight make almost the exact same tool under their brand name and sell it at a much cheaper price. So I think these knives are the perfect example. Buck has been making the 119 Special for about 80 years or so, 81 years. They started making this knife in 1942. It's one of their most popular and best-selling knives. I don't know exactly how many they've sold, but I would not be surprised to learn it's in the millions. Like I said, it's a real popular hunting knife, and it would make sense that if you're gonna copy a product, you would choose one that's very popular from another brand, and you know it's already a good seller, so you're gonna try to make it cheaper. Like I said in the beginning, the specs are almost identical, the sheaths are almost identical, and to me, it feels like a pretty much exact copy of Buck's 119. So I would say the biggest difference really is the type of steel used. Buck uses 420 HC stainless steel, whereas the Gordon uses 7CR17 MOV stainless steel, which is a Chinese steel. So the 7CR17 MOV is actually known for being a little more durable and a little tougher of a steel than the 420 HC, but it's not as easy to sharpen and it's not quite as flexible as the 420 HC. So depending on who you talk to, if you start talking to bladesmiths and people that really know a lot about steel, I think you could probably find people that would say one's better and then other people would say the other's better. So it's kind of a 50-50 split, but other than the type of steel, these knives are virtually identical. The only other real difference I can see is the Buck has the black resin stripe in the aluminum handguard, whereas the Gordon 6-inch Bowie does not. So I guess that leads us into the question, is Harbor Freight deliberately copying these name brands? I'm not going to say for certain whether or not they are. If you can think of specific tools from other name brands, of any type of tool that you think Harbor Freight may have copied, please leave it in the comments below and we'll see if other people agree or disagree. So that leads us into the question, what do you think of this? Do you think having a much cheaper alternative to the real deal is a good thing or a bad thing? Because let's be real, a lot of people may not be able to afford the name brand tool, but they may be able to afford the knockoff tool, which is at a much cheaper price. For example, the Buck knife that I showed is $75 approximately, depending on where you buy it. The Gordon 6-inch Bowie, in comparison, is approximately $25. So you're quite literally talking about a third the price. You could buy 3 of the Gordon 6-inch Bowies for the same price as 1 of the Buck 119 Specials. So how do you feel about that? Do you think people should just buy the real deal and spend the money? Or do you think that most people are going to want to spend less money and get something that's probably almost as good. You could argue whether or not it's going to hold up as long, whether or not it's as good, whether or not it's as durable. But at the end of the day, it is a third the price, and that's really a big factor for a lot of people when they buy tools. If you want my personal opinion, I have mixed feelings. I think, in my heart, I like to see American companies making products and succeeding, but I understand that people buying the products have a budget, especially now in 2023. Everything is so expensive just to live, whether it be your housing, your food, gasoline to get to your place of work or to do whatever you need to do and run errands. Everything is so expensive. Things like knives that are kind of really more of a luxury item, it's hard to justify spending more than you have to. So if you can get this for a third the price of this, I mean, I can certainly see why people would buy it, and I can certainly see why Harbor Freight maybe appears to have started to try to cash in on that market. Like I said, I would, in my heart, I like seeing the American products be pushed, and you know, I don't really like seeing things copied per se, but I also do understand that there's a huge market for those cheaper made items, and ultimately I can't blame people for making that choice. If it comes down to feeding your family and paying your mortgage or having an extra $50 in your pocket from not spending it on a knife, I mean, you really can't blame people. Everyone's got to do what they got to do to fit in their budget. And, you know, you could argue they don't have to buy a knife at all, but maybe they do. Maybe they're big into hunting. Maybe they feed their family with venison or something like that. So you really can't say they don't need the knife. Maybe they do need it. Not everyone buys knives just to collect them. Some people use them a lot, whether they're gutting a deer or whatever. I mean, there's a huge market for these types of knives, obviously. Otherwise, I don't think they would have put the effort into trying to make a similar knife to their very well-selling 119 Special. So it may seem like I'm beating up on Harbor Freight a little bit in this video, but I'm just trying to be open and transparent. I've done several videos on Harbor Freight products. I think in general, the stuff they offer is real good. I have a ton of their Bowie cordless 20-volt tools. I have quite a few different brands from Harbor Freight, and I've been pretty happy with most of them. There's a couple of them that I wasn't as happy with, but for the amount of money I saved, I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars, because if you start buying a lot of tools and you save $20, $30, $40, $50, whatever, per tool, and then you save money per battery, it really starts adding up over time. And like I said, if you have a budget and a family and bills, then it's, you know, I think it's a up and coming tool store. I think Harbor Freight is going to continue to get bigger, and I would not be surprised to learn that they are the #1, or they will be the #1 tool store in America. They may already be, for all I know. Leave it in the comments if you know, but like I've said in other videos, I think they're kind of turning into the next Sears. They're not American-made products, but they are an American company, whether you like that fact or not. They're based out of California, and they employ a lot of Americans in their stores. Whether they sell American-made products kind of is irrelevant. They do employ a lot of Americans in their stores, and from reading on forums and things, it doesn't seem like a terrible place to work. I don't see them getting terrible reviews. Well, I think that's gonna about do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments if you think Harbor Freight is deliberately copying these name brand tools. Also, let me know some specific examples of tools that you think they've copied. And let me know in general, what are your thoughts of the whole thing? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.